This week's episode of Death Parade was basically a way to see if Decim knew how to pass judgment and everything else. Even though Decim's been working in, Queen Decim for almost 5 years, so we get to discover how long Decim's been working. We got to see a new character. We also got to see a little bit of Clavis, who's absolutely a hilarious character by that. I figured out that Clavis is the elevator boy, and he basically always around Nona. And also, when I saw the old man or whatever, the guy who grew his beard looks like a flower or whatever, I was like, is that the old man from the Death Billards OVA? But if you're not seen the Death Billards OVA, it shows the premise and it's a foundation for the Death Parade anime as well. So like, is that the old man? It was like, how long has it been, Nona, since you've been manager? She said 82 years. So they've played approximately 170 games per year of billards. I'm like, they're playing billards and the old man looks like him. So wait, I was like, he said, I'm the one closest to being God. And he said God is no longer here, or God hasn't been in a long time. Does that mean that the old man from the Death... I know they don't look alike, because if you look at the picture, if you go and watch Death Billards, they don't look alike, but at the same time they do. And I was like, are you serious? That man is God now? He went all the way to basically freaking hell, and now I don't believe he's God. I absolutely do not believe. Maybe he could be him, or maybe he looks very similar to him. I was like, that's a whole different video if I ever do make a theory video on why I figuring he's all the way there, and figure he's been with Nona for 82 years. They've played hundreds of thousands of games of billards. I think they played over like 1,700 games of billards and everything else. And he was talking about, obviously, conversation, how you know about billards. It was really anything plot moving. That conversation really wasn't anything that, would move the plot, but this episode showed me that Death Parade is going to actually have maybe an actual story, or maybe it's going to have more. It's going to make the whole, you play a game, decide where you go, reincarnation or hell. Is going to expand upon the story with the new character Ginty. Basically, Ginty is the guy in the orange hair you see in the opening, whatever, and we gotta see that he's very brawlic and he likes to fight a lot apparently. So when freaking Nona obviously decided to test Decim in the, Queen Decim test, whatever. It's a test where you get to prove your arbiter's skills or whatever. They also got to explain the whole past, how the whole test worked, the foundation, they obviously, they make the memory in a form where the arbiters can have them, obviously like how you make like a poster, you make like glass, like, thing, whatever, and then you obviously process it in the minds, whatever. He was talking more about the background process of how the arbiters receive the memory, a good way for obviously us to understand more about the arbiter and the whole character. We didn't even get to see Decim's character, but we also got to see a little bit more of the black haired girl's character. I have no idea what her name is. I really need to search up what her name is, because we got to see that she was a human. Now obviously she was a human because we knew that, and obviously they had to erase her memory because she remembered she died. That's so Decim couldn't pass judgment on her. So there are characters that probably remember they're dead, but as Ginty said, that is very rare and that does not happen a lot. So that's why she was in the freaking the garden or the basement of Nona's house. And the beginning of the episode is obviously the story about Jimmy and this girl, whatever. Jimmy was talking to this girl, whatever. It's like a classic kid story, whatever, she couldn't hear, whatever, so she was deaf, probably. I feel like that story, that little child story, is probably has to do a lot with the plot, because I feel like, even Nona reads that story all the time. You seen the opening, whatever, that book Nona's reading, and it has the two covers of those kids? That's the book. So what does that book have to do with anything? Like, it's a question, like, does the book move the plot forward? Is it something that, the characters probably read when they were younger and remember, and then Nona read that book when she was younger? Did her parents, I don't know if arbiters have parents, managers as they're called have parents or anything else, so we don't know about it. Also, I want to know about the building that these arbiters, or Nona and that guy who's become almost God is in. Is that building, a hideout? Is that building where they collect souls? What do they do in that building? You want to know, you want to question everything as you can, and eventually see if the show you're watching actually prioritizes that question and actually tries to solve it. So, this episode really interested me. Not a lot, not an actual game went on. This was a little good break from the whole arcade Pac-Man, freaking Apex type game you had in the last week's episode. It was more explaining on the background. So episode 2 and episode 5, I believe, explained more of the background of the arbiters and introduced freaking Ginty, and it also shows the Queen Decim test where they have these tests randomly. So they're having a test, right? And they're going to play a game, they're going to do the game, right? And Decim noticed something very strange. He didn't receive one of the contestants' memories. He didn't receive the child's memory. And the old man, he probably received his memory, but the old man was actually a dummy, a fake. That's why, he has some like planted memories in him. Obviously, that would cause him to react the way he did. And then my favorite part of the episode was freaking when Decim versus Ginty, man. That battle was absolutely, oh my, Decim, when he freaking grabbed the kid's leg, was like, where did that come from, and he took him into the air, and freaking when Ginty came out, he was using all these water type attacks. I was like, Ginty, come through, man. And it was like, freaking, it was a battle episode, like, a mini version of the battle episode. It was absolutely amazing. I would love to see an arbiter fight again. That was absolutely flipping brilliant. Also, freaking where, what's it called? What I was gonna say, Ginty versus freaking Decim, how that advanced forward, and freaking Ginty was going all, bouncing all the room, and the animation for that fight was absolutely amazing. Showing that Madhouse has a big ass budget for these shows. They do absolutely loved it, and we did enjoy that battle. Also, when Decim was talking about the spider's thread, whatever, he was talking about the Buddha decided to put spider's thread down because, Katana, I can't remember the guy's name, Katana, no, I can't remember his name, but guy, I call him K, I call him K. Basically, Buddha decided to put a spider web down to hell where K would climb up because, since the reason why, because he spared a spider. Since he being a nice guy, he spared a spider, because a lot of people would kill a spider immediately, but he decided to spare the spider. He basically was in hell, and he wanted to climb that thread up. So obviously the people who have actually committed actual sins were trying to climb up, and he made sure that, they would not climb up. When he had a dream of going to heaven, and that thread would take him to the heaven, or heaven. I don't know why I say the, but it would take him to heaven. And overall, and also how the reason why Decim said the story is because it would have been better if he didn't see the thread, and freaking he wrapped this mysterious thread around him, like so. He was basically saying, it would have been better if freaking the sinners didn't see the thread in any way, just like how he gave the guy, he wrapped up another thread around him. He basically distracted him with one thread and wrapped it around him, and he died. But he was really a dummy who was just working for like part time. He was working for a couple of minutes, and then later he didn't work, and then obviously Decim probably didn't fail a test. He's not really bright. Also, another new character has been introduced. Her name is Castro, and the castle, the freaking area she's in, she could see the entire world, and she's saying about 7,000 people are dying, like, every hour, I believe, or every day. And she's saying, the death rate is really increasing really fast. So I feel like she is I thought she was Queen Decim at first. I thought she was the main person obviously ruling over them, but she's basically the person who says all the information as well. And I feel like we're getting to do some new characters, because I thought this was all the characters. We're going to probably get introduced to new scientists, different characters as well. Now, in the opening, we did get to see, Ginty in the opening. We got to see Clevis, Nona, Decim, the black-haired girl, Castro. We also got to see the guy who's apparently close to God. I have no idea what his name is, but I'm going to refer to him as the guy in Death Belards. We're probably going to see about 2 new characters, and we saw the girl, whatever, in the opening. She is basically in Ginty's, bar. So basically, Ginty also has a different bar. Arbiters probably have different bars around there, because they, one arbiter can't do all of them, so they need different arbiters or managers to obviously manage the people who die, obviously do the games. You can see that Ginty really doesn't care for this as much as, freaking, well, Decim obviously passed his judgment and everything else, but obviously, Ginty, you could see in the preview of the episode, he looked absolutely like, whatever, just play the game, whatever. And also got to see this cat, apparently, this other person, in the next episode preview as well. I want to know, what's Castro's main role, because that's really highly interesting as well. Is Castro, like, the person obviously is, says, all these people died, does she have an ulterior role as well? And the whole Jimmy story, and with Nona, how does all of these different questions link? Because I feel like Madhouse is going to somehow make all of these stories link. The kid story, freaking with her dreams. Well, the black-haired girl who's basically the assistant, is like an assistant arbiter, get her memories back. We know Decim give her judgment as well, because obviously Ginty's saying just give her judgment right now, but obviously Decim's I like a person who's lived a fulfilled life. So obviously she was fulfilled. This is probably why she died, because if you feel like your life isn't fulfilled, you don't remember that you obviously don't remember anything. You obviously just have no memories as well. So I don't know. I believe they're probably gonna explain one episode of where they got the black hair girl from. When she, trying to refer to. Maybe they'll explain her reasoning, her for being there as well, her past, whatever. So overall, a lot of questions that I hope will be answered in the next few episodes of Death Parade. More questions and answers. We did get to see some new characters, Ginty and Castro being some new characters, and basically the guy from the Death Blood's Ovi, who's apparently, quite different. His eyes, are basically non-human definitely. I feel like, he obviously says he's a guy who's, surpassed not surpassed, but he's almost equal to God, whatever, and freaking no one says, yeah, say whatever you want, whatever. And he can't even win a game of Billar. If Billar was God, he will be able to basically, or close to God, he'll be able to win all 1,000 games that they've played so far. So, overall, be sure to like the video if you guys enjoyed the episode review. Be sure to comment below if you have any questions. Next few episodes will resolve any question that I can answer. What did you guys think of the episode and all that stuff? So,